Hello everybody, my name is Amy Doe.
My name is John Cotter.
And you are listening to a brand new year of the Radio DePaul podcast. For the first episode of the year, we have an exclusive interview and some exclusive backtrack music produced by Chinatown.
Yes, Chinatown is from North Carolina. He is produced for Famous Dex, Lil Uzi Vert, Playboi Carti, among many other top artists in the rap world. And we're just going to get into why he does what he does, how he's become so successful, and how he's sort of made a name of his own in an industry where the people that make the songs often remain nameless.
Purchase your tracks today.
The whole time I've been making beats, I always was like, I want to make sure I have a individual, unique sound so people can like, either when they hear another beat that might sound like mine, they'll say like, that remind me of Chinatown or something like that.
All it takes is the drive to do it and the knowledge to know where you're looking for these things. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost, is they know the sounds they want to make, they know what they want to do, they know how they want this image to look, but they don't know how to go about doing it. And that is a process is always so daunting.
Right.
Approaching an application. I mean, I approached Audition about a year ago at this point.
I was really bad at first, and I actually taught myself how to produce off of just watching like random YouTube videos. And I had like FL Studio in the window. I would just have YouTube up, watch like an hour-long video on certain stuff on FL Studio, and then I'll pause it when I'm on a certain part, and I'll open FL back up and just try to apply what I learned. And from there on, just kind of doing that and then messing around on the program myself and just discovering stuff. I say you could really learn better when you just discover stuff kind of on accident, because you'll remember it more because of how you came across it.
The focus a lot of the time is on the rapper or the singer. And colloquially speaking, it's always, oh yeah, I love Katy Perry, or oh yeah, I love Playboi Carti, but it's never who makes the backtracks for Playboi Carti, who, wrote the lyrics to this Katy Perry song.
After I learned the basics, it's just kind of like me having the drive of wanting to, and being inspired. I say my influence and inspiration is really like what got me to the making my melodies and style how it is now.
It's just crazy to me how we're in an age now where you can teach yourself how to produce, how to do pretty much anything from the internet, specifically YouTube.
Yeah, I think that it's especially true of application-based art, because so much of it is, do you actually know where the button is to make the thing that you want to happen?
Off of making beats for so long now, I can just hit certain keys and I know they go together, so it's just kind of like muscle memory at this point, because I know I've been pressing so many different like notes and patterns that I kind of know where to line up, or I can at least find a note that'll blend with that same melody. But yeah, I don't know any music theory.
Like, we just spent almost an hour trying to figure out how to get the studio to record again, and what did we do? We called our general manager, shout out to Tai Yamamoto.
Shout out Tai.
But also it was a process of just Googling and crowdsourcing this information. And you're right, it is kind of insane that you can just do that.
But I always was able to learn technology fast. I've always been like a computer dude. That's kind of why some stuff might have happened a little faster than the norm, because I was already good with tech and like learning certain things. So it was like basically a combination of like different like techniques and styles you could come at with making a beat. And I just kind of like would pull from certain influences, and then eventually over time I'm building up my own style.
It's pretty rare to come across somebody who seems like they're really doing it for the love of it, but is also just really good at doing it. That just creates something wholly unique, I think.
Basically, my morning and night consistent of like really doing music and being out there doing it. So after that, I was like, yeah, this kind of like what I could see myself pursuing. And then I started getting a little bit of money off of some songs. Then it really had me like addicted to trying to make like bigger moves and continue to just get out there. What ends up going down, the problem I had occurred with a couple of artists I began working with, it was when it wasn't necessarily setting up me being able to get them on the beat, but it'll be like after we got a song we ready to put out or that's coming out, getting the payment. And then that was the main issue, because it'll be like certain artists, once you contact them before that, then you start seeing like certain people not replying or you ain't getting hit back up. So then it start having me venture out to figure out like what are some ways I could still have this music out there but still receive my earnings without having to necessarily talk to the artist. And that's when I got with the team, and from there on I started like getting my stuff published and monetized, and basically I was releasing more content as if I were an artist more than producer. As I worked with Fauni and continue to work with like 1000 Man Fauni and Uno the Activist, and then D Savage as well, around that time was when like a lot of my demands started coming in from other artists that knew of them or heard some of their music, or like other producers. In the midst of that, I was also building up working with Carti in private. Carti was actually chatting with me, like, got Twitter DMs all the way back to like 2015, and he's like, yo, gave me the email for his beats, and I didn't even think it was a real email at first. Between him and like Ian Connor, they were just kind of pitching in on like telling me like, yo, these beats fire, keep sending some more, just that and the third. So we kind of had like a little lock-in, build-up thing going on. And it was like right when he was making his big transition from going off of like the booming SoundCloud artist into like being signed. That's when a lot of the changes occurred. It was like we had a whole tape, me and my bro named Milan, who's also a producer. We both had like a whole mixtape's worth of songs with Carti. We were on the phone with his management and all of that, talking about like going through the track list. And he was like, oh yeah, this is by you, produced by you, China. This produced by Milan. Just telling us all the songs. So that's how I found out.
Deep dive, because I know you spoke to this guy. Beats by Milan. No, Milan makes beats. Says that Playboi Carti has not paid him for beats that he gave him, and then he shared some DMs between them where Carti was threatening to come find him and fight him. Can you give us some backstory here?
Oh, I love this story.
But also
You're doing 1 million shows every month. Yeah. Can I get some money?
Nah, stop counting other people's money.
Right?
Stop counting other people's money.
Well,
I hate when people do that.
What he has to do is...
Yeah.
This is gross, man. This is embarrassing.
That is what Joe Budden was talking about when he left Complex. That is what... Too soon? It was a joke.
Can Joe Budden shut the fuck up, by the way? Like, stop. Like, who are you? Stop talking.
Because he got...
You ain't gotta count how many fucking shows I'm doing. I had my mom come to the fucking live podcast and be counting how many people was in there. Get out of here.
what?
That's moms, though. That's moms.
Even when I saw him starting to, work with or be with Uzi a lot more, I could tell he was about to transition into like that secluded artist that's doing his own thing.
Coming back to what you said, where you asked me about the best part of this interview being, I think one of the best parts was him describing how he got the song with Uzi and Carti and how it came about, because it's pretty incredible.
I thought it was just like another beat for today, but something told me like, yo, just send that to Carti email. And then the way the song worked is
he sent a beat to Playboi Carti, who just happened to be in the studio at the time.
I was kind of like linked in with Carti at the time,
who just happened to be with Uzi at the time.
And I seen he was in the studio with Uzi at the same time. And I had just sent that beat.
Who just happened to play the beat at the time where Uzi said, we're making a song right now.
Uzi was kind of hearing the vibes of it and just hopped on it as well. Because it was going to be a throwaway song, but then Uzi was like, nah, let me hop on there too. And then that's when that final version came out, or was floating around with a snippet of him like dancing in the car to it.
He kind of explained how it's sort of just that one of those like unexplainable things. And he also said it was a milestone for him.
I would definitely say Firearms gonna be like one of those songs or moments in my like story, I guess you could say. I could look back on and just say, I can't believe I did that, because I was only like a teenager when I did get that placement.
Right, it's like this magical combination of being in the right place at the right time and also knowing the right people, but also developing this skill set and then just hoping that you get seen by the right person.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a big part of it, is getting seen by the right people or the right person. And obviously part of what China had with some of his songs is luck, but that luck would have never happened if the song wasn't good. If they played the beat and said, this is trash, that's it. But it wasn't trash. So they made a song. And that's the big thing about this, is you can say, oh, this person's just lucky. It's like, well, sure, they might be, but they're also incredibly talented.
For some of the bigger songs, it always seems to be that there's like a story behind the beat or the story behind how the song was made. Even with artists like with Future and 56 Nights, his situation behind that, it's always the best like content usually comes from like emotions or a certain experience you're going through during the time. Moving myself as more of like an artist more so than a producer, even though I do make the beats. I've been learning from some of like my influences that I've been listening to as well, so that was actually crazy because I got a good amount of knowledge from DP, the producer for like Chief Keef.
Is DP on the beat? Is that like his tag?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so DP actually, around the FIREARM drop, he was like showing me some love and telling me like, keep working and I'm getting right. And he basically like gave me a little rundown on certain stuff, how I should like continue to move forward, how he's made his moves as a producer and like how he handles his business as a producer. Because DP's getting checks that like a lot of rappers ain't even getting. And DP got like the jewelry, the cars, the house, all that type of stuff. So that's exactly how I'm trying to have myself set up off of just the music alone.
What was your favorite part about talking with him?
It was a lot. I think the biggest thing that I enjoyed so much was talking to this producer who I have been paying attention to for so long that doesn't have... He has almost 5,000 followers on Instagram, but he's not quote-unquote famous. You know, he's noticed. He is ahead of most people in this industry that he is approaching. And I think it's somebody that really deserves a lot of notoriety and deserves a lot of respect for the self-made attitude and ways he has going about making music and producing.
It was always something in me I just ain't know, because when I used to listen to like these new Chief Keef mixtapes that'll drop and all of that, I wouldn't even, like, even though I did rock with the artist heavily, I wouldn't even really listen to their song right away when the tape first came out or whatever. I'll just keep playing through the whole tape to see like what beats would pull me in to like let the song just ride out for a second. And I guess you could like factor that in over time with how I listen to music. And I was always just going by ear, like just listening to the beat first and making sure like, and over time I just naturally had like some sauce with setting up my beats because I knew how the songs went from listening so much.
Having placements, signing artists, doing all of these things just so that he can make a living off doing the stuff that he enjoys so much. He dropped out of school to produce this full time, and that's one of the best parts we talked about, was him making that decision of, okay, am I gonna approach this full time or am I gonna finish school? And he decided to do this full time, and well, he has songs with Playboi Carti, Uzi, Famous Dex, all these huge artists.
And but I could say 5 years from now, I want to have myself on a more of that tapped into the industry level where I could at least have a main song that's competing on Billboard or hitting the charts. I'm definitely trying to get a plaque. The plaque is definitely like a major producer goal, whether it's gold or platinum, but I need both. And it's crazy, I got so many like bangers I have beat-wise that I haven't released to the public or no one's heard, because I know like I got beats for all these artists I want to work with. I just gotta basically if I already had certain artists' emails or had the relationship to work with them already, I'll have even more songs out because I got the sounds they need for sure.
And I guess some of the other things that we talked about, from what I remember, it was such a long conversation. That's the thing. It was so long and it was so good. And it became a free-flowing conversation rather than me looking at questions thinking, how can I position this? It became so natural and we were both so interested in this topic that it made it flow so easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely need everybody to go listen to that Carti I just dropped. And I got some more music coming out, but being that this Carti just dropped, I'm going to let that build up some before I reveal what my next unlock is, I guess you could say.
Yeah, let that simmer.
Mm-hmm. Got something else fire on ice.